another episode of Ainy&Hajra Unscripted, and today we have another exciting guest. You know those places that feel like a dream the minute you walk in, the ones with gold dusted lattes, pink velvet chairs, and desserts that look like art? That's Feya. And behind that fantasy is Chef Zahra Khan, a Pakistani powerhouse who went from culinary school to Forbes 30 under 30 while raising 3 babies and building a brand rooted in purpose.
Today we're going to talk about everything from sexism in kitchens to employing single moms on her team to what it really takes to turn your dream into a successful business, into reality. Guys, I'm so excited to welcome the owner, the founder of London's most enchanting brunch spot, Zahra Khan, the founder of Feya. Zahra, your cafes are stunning. I mean, they are aesthetically so pleasing. They're so beautiful. They're known to be the most Instagrammable or one of the most Instagrammable sort of cafe chain in London. People literally go there to take the most perfect pictures. What inspired you to blend, art, culture, food, female empowerment into this cafe concept?
So Feya is actually named after my daughter Sophia, and the whole concept, it came together since I was younger. I've been baking, and I was, like you grow up in Pakistan and your parents had a certain expectation and you have to be in a respectable profession, and for me that was, you have to become a doctor. And I did my sciences. I went to Canada. I did my pre-medical sciences. I studied that. But while I was studying, I had started baking, not just because I was always doing it as a hobby. Since I was 8-9 years old, I would bake cakes. And in my school, all my friends knew me for the girl who's always going to bring a cake if it's somebody's birthday, for the teachers. And, I was known
a cake that you made.
A cake that I made,
Yeah.
and I would do this for everyone. And so everybody kind of knew me like that. But because my mom's a doctor, and, she always said, okay, baking and art is on one side, but you can never make a career out of it. It's a hobby and it's great, right? But you cannot make a career out of this. Become a doctor, then you can do what you want. But obviously, becoming a doctor is not easy and you have to be passionate about it. And I tried, honestly. I tried until I was in uni. I did my pre-med, I graduated, and then I just felt so lost. And I was like, this is not my calling. It does not bring me fulfillment. I don't see myself working in a hospital, or, it's really depressing. And I wanted to do something creative. And I found while I was studying, I would literally, sometimes I would stay up all night. I was doing wedding cakes. I was doing celebration cakes. What started as just a business where I was catering to my friends slowly grew into, word of mouth. And I wasn't advertising, but, I was getting all these orders. And I found it so therapeutic. And it was like, from the studies and all of that, it just became like an escape.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. And then when I graduated, I was looking into med school and I was thinking, okay, what to do next? But it just didn't feel right. So then I thought, okay, I need to sit down with my parents and I need to tell them that I need to explore this. I've had no formal education, I've never trained, never done a course in baking, just self-taught. And obviously I don't have that confidence, but maybe if I just explore, maybe if I just take a course. So I sat down with them and I said, I understand I'm letting you down. You want me to be a doctor, all these expectations. But I just want to, I don't feel happy about where I'm at and I don't know what to do next. But I really would want to explore this. So obviously that wasn't easy. You know how it is with Pakistani parents. There was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
But eventually they said, okay, fine. So I took that year off to travel. So I came to London. I was visiting one of my friends and I fell in love with the city, the charm of London. And I said, I want to come to London and I want to study here. So I found the school, which was Gordon Ramsay's school, and I enrolled in the school. I think it just took 3 or 4 months from enrolling in the school and then just getting the spot and everything. And 3 months later, I was moving here.
Wow.
And that 1 year, it just taught me so much. Just not just culinary wise, but just living in a new country by myself. Where I'd sort of I had moved to Canada before, but my family had migrated, so we were all this was just by myself. So it was one of the best decisions I've taken and I've made, and I've just learned so much from it. And it also gave me that confidence to pursue this as a career, because I felt like, okay, I can do it no matter what cut of meat you put in front of me, or a vegetable or fruit or something, you know, I'll make something out of it because I have that sort of foundation now, which you know, I felt like I was lacking before.
I mean, just because it is very, very inspirational for a Pakistani girl who's grown up in Lahore,
yeah,
gone to study med school in Canada, to then come to London, go to the school. You said Cordon Bleu, Gordon Ramsay sort of certificate you got. You went there, but a lot of people do that, but they are not able to turn that around into a successful chain in central London. Your cafes are they in Knightsbridge and Mayfair and you know, quite central?
yeah.
Marylebone?
All the prime locations, yeah.
Prime locations. We're talking about London real estate gold, and yeah, you have four. Is
Three, yeah.
Three. So can you just tell me like that one thing after school? What is that one thing that gave you the boost and the confidence to start a business on this kind of scale? Like, is it about getting the right investors? Is it about, what is, like, just for women or men that are, you know, thinking this is a very, very competitive food scene and it's London? Yeah, what is that, like, one
Definitely.
or two things?
You know, when I was in Pakistan and I was doing my baking, and everybody would tell me, open up your bakery, or, you know, start from home and all of that. And I felt like I know I can do it there. I know there's not much competition and, you know, I can do it.
Yeah.
But the real challenge I wanted to give myself was do it in a country where I'm not familiar. I'm new here. I'm an immigrant.
Yeah.
And there's already a saturation in the market. It's a very competitive industry. But I wanted to give myself that challenge that would motivate me even, you know, to push myself further.
Yeah.
And you know what they say, that when you push yourself and you step out of your comfort zone, that is when you really, you know, you have to put yourself all in and literally step out of your comfort zone, because you don't grow. When you stay in your comfort zone, you don't grow. Growth comes from actually facing your fears, facing your challenges, just going head on into it. So I think with Feya and just wanting to open, not even in the suburbs, but right in central London, in the prime locations, because that is the kind of brand I'd envisioned. That is the, you know, vision I had for Feya, that I wanted to be a destination. And that was missing from central London. I felt like, you know, this kind of a concept, an escape from the chaos of London, you know, the hustle bustle, like it was sort of this kind of concept which is like a calm, and it's like an escape, and it's a bit of, you know, it inspires you, and then you get beautifully plated dishes. It's something to celebrate about. It's a meal, right? But it's something
It's an experience.
It's a bit more than just a brand or just a restaurant.
Yeah.
So we wanted to blend sort of all those concepts, the artistic element, and then bring in the women empowerment as well, because I myself was a young mother at the time, and I was hiring a lot of young women because I wanted to, you know, give them the confidence to go on and, you know, sort of open up their own restaurants or anything that they wanted to do. So the idea was not just to run a restaurant, but also to help others, to uplift other women, to provide something a bit more like a nurturing sort of a workplace.
Yeah.
But since I met you in 2018, I remember, and that's when you opened Feya in James Street, and then now you've got 3 branches. Again, as Annie mentioned, you've got the prime locations. I was so fortunate to film you for my ZTV show, The Place to Eat, and I remember back then when I filmed it, it was super popular then also with a lot of the social influencers, and you made it happen through the influencers. You had them queuing up, lining up just to get a space in the cafe for your fancy drinks and your croissant. But since your first branch to now your third, what have you overestimated or underestimated? And what's so different about the all 3?
So I think it's a great question. Basically, you saw Feya James Street for what it was, and that was, you know, what Feya went viral for actually. That was the summer when we opened in June, and it was a great summer. You know, I'll never forget. It was a new business, but we literally had queues out the door, and I was in from like 7 till 1 a.m. because you just cannot leave it, you know, and that is one of the challenges I faced, is because you're just a part of it, it consumes you, you know, and I had to distance myself from, because it's very unhealthy. I had a baby waiting for me at home when I would go home, and, you know, the little time I would have with her, and then the sleepless nights and all of that. So it was a busy time when we first launched. We went viral on Instagram, and it was actually our artistic, the beautifully plated dishes, the brunch that went viral. So the concept for Feya was, maybe in my mind, was more like a dessert and a coffee shop. But because the brunch went so viral, now we've really expanded on the menu, and now the Marble Arch location is more like a restaurant. So we've sort of added a lot more. And like you said, things that I overestimated or underestimated, there's been a lot of learning along the way. One of the things, obviously, which from the start, we were really big on social media and the focus, it was important, the PR, the marketing. So as a brand, we recognized that this is a great tool. Instagram was, quite big back then. Now there's TikTok, and even though I don't understand TikTok.
So I don't even have it.
I don't.
I actually don't have it
I
on
mean,
my phone.
we have one for Feya, but I just struggle to use TikTok and understand it. But you have to evolve, and you have to learn, and you have to keep up with these trends. So the Feya that sort of initially started, I think it's evolved over time, and now we've got our own identity, and people sort of can relate to Feya, and it's become like this sort of, like we say, it's like an escape, it's like a destination, and it's taken time to get this far, and I think it really helped. The first summer when we had all the celebrities coming in, we had the influencers coming in, and I think that gave us a great boost. And then that's what we learned, that we need to keep this up. We need to keep up with the PR campaigns, do a lot of events. We collaborated with a lot of brands as well, a lot of beauty brands, a lot of influencer collaborations, and that, I think, has sort of helped and kept things interesting as well, because it's just a different element to just running a restaurant. It's more creative as well. I enjoy that part where we're doing bespoke menus and bespoke food and drink. And then that sort of has, fused into what Feya is today.
You say you don't use TikTok, which is a great tool right now. It's fantastic, and it people want to search certain things, they can do it. You're really on it with most of the viral trends. You did the Dubai chocolate, so you did your version as well. It did phenomenal at Winter Wonderland. You did some drink right now, I saw, with a little vase thing and matcha.
Yeah, we did the handbag with the matcha
thing.
Yeah.
So you're really on it with a lot of the viral stuff. What's that ethos behind it? You want to be on all the trends?
So my ethos is, I don't just want to follow trends, I want to set them with Feya. So one of the trends we actually Feya started, we were the pioneers in the edible flowers trend. So back in 2018, cafes weren't using edible flowers, they were expensive, and they weren't as widely available either. But for me, because it was also, the menu was there was a health element behind it. So we don't use artificial color, flavors, and we use superfood ingredients, because it should be food that's good for you and you feel good about. So that was sort of the concept behind the brunch menu. There were vegan, gluten-free dishes as well, and which is something we always cater to. So the idea was there that it should be this health and wellness element as well. So we kept up with that, and the trend then blew up, and now you see edible flowers everywhere. But they're actually good for you as well. They're a superfood. And so from that trend, I realized very early on that whatever you try and create, people are going to copy that. And unfortunately, you cannot copyright or patent a recipe or a dish. And that
You can't.
You can't.
No. None of it.
You can't.
With food, definitely not.
Yeah.
But with anything which is like clothes and shoes, whatever, it has
It's
just
different.
17 differences or
Even
some
clothes,
amount of differences.
Yeah.
You can't.
Which
chop
you
us
can't.
होते हैं. It's only
Some
with tech
substitutes
and,
होते
yeah,
हैं.
I think.
So then how do you keep on top of it?
So then it's all about innovations, constant ideas, innovations, creating something that nobody else is doing, to stay unique.
Yeah.
And to not just, sort of get lost in the, crowd or the trends that everybody's. Yes, it's important to follow the trends. Like the Dubai chocolates were viral, we had to do our own take on them. Ours are slightly different, but, we have our own flavors and variations. But it's just to do everything in our own way.
Yeah.
So we stay different, and it's not like we're copying.
So you obviously have the culinary side, which you must have a very strong team of chefs and people in the kitchen, but then you obviously have a very, very strong social media marketing side. Are you heading all the aspects, or have you now put people in positions or are you sort of, I wouldn't say micromanaging, but are you heavily involved in all the aspects of your business?
Yes, definitely.
Oh my gosh.
This is one of the challenges I faced initially.
We have a
one
hybrid
location.
model, kind of.
Yeah,
almost,
because we had one location, and obviously to start with, as a startup, as a new business, you can't have that full team, just going into it.
Yeah.
So we had a small team.
Yeah.
But basically, I was doing everything. I was doing bar. I was doing the, I was the chef. I was everything, wherever I was needed.
Doing the social media, the
Everything,
pictures,
the social media, the photography,
decor.
a bit of everything. And
Yeah.
then I realized, if I need to grow and we grow as a business, I need the property. I need to start trusting people,
Yes.
and I need to start delegating.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because I cannot
delegation.
do it all. So that is something that I learned. And you slowly start letting go a little bit. That micromanaging,
Yeah.
that consumes you.
Yeah.
So you need to step back.
So what's this bit about employing single moms? Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And I'm sorry guys, we are all dripping. हमारे tissues यहाँ रखे हुए हैं. Today is the hottest. The day we're filming is the hottest
It's
day.
the hottest day.
He said कोई 40 plus years में in London today is the hottest day on record. This will air later, but हम पिघल रहे हैं, so just bear with our shiny faces. But yeah, I was reading that you do employ single moms. I mean, that sounds fantastic. And how do you do that?
So,
How do you
I
get them?
when we first opened,
Yeah.
obviously I was doing all the interviews myself, meeting all these people even before the location was open.
Yeah.
And just as a single mom, like as a new mom myself,
Yeah.
and I had a 6-month-old while the whole concept was taking form, and she was going with me to all my meetings and everything.
Oh.
She started them young, she's learned. So I sort of could relate to the mothers, right, a bit more, because I was in that phase myself. So I wanted to give them the opportunity. For me, it wasn't about hiring people with experience in the beginning, which is one of the mistakes I made, is I didn't hire experienced staff because I said, okay, I see a potential in them, I will train them.
Right.
But then obviously that
That's
became
taking on
lot of
another challenge.
exactly, because I was training them at the same time.
So extra additional work that you wanted to just
और चाहिए था ना.
Yeah.
Baby काफी
Yeah,
नहीं
so
था.
you
Business
really
भी
wanted
काफी
to
नहीं
do
था. ऐसे कहते मैं training भी करूँगी. But please.
You
so
know,
you
at the
want to
same
do
time,
everything yourself,
everything.
which is not possible.
which wasn't possible, right? So like you learn along the way. But
Okay.
this is one of the things I learned, and I wouldn't have known until yes, I wanted to help everyone, but there would have been a time, maybe a better time would have been having a couple of locations, then being in a better position, and then employing sort of the mothers, the single mothers, but we learned as well, and I gave everybody. For me, it was like I gave everyone a fair chance. Where I saw potential, I thought, okay, this is going to help them in some way. They need the job as well.
Yeah.
Were you able to
So-
help them with childcare, or were they like able to find? Because when you say single moms, that means they don't have a partner. So what are they doing with the kids? Or they're in
Yeah.
school going at least.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We
So
have
you
those
find
hours.
their time.
Yes,
have those
exactly.
hours.
So
Okay.
we're flexible with that as well. I mean, most of the staff at Feya, they saw my kids there, so my babies would be there with me, and they were very understanding about
Yeah.
this sort of the dynamics and everything. And it was like an open place. Sometimes if they needed to bring their child in and they didn't have anybody to look after the child, I said it's okay, or you can finish earlier. So we were always flexible.
And you
because
created
I
a
understood.
safe environment for
Yes,
these
so
people.
that
which,
was
these
important.
women, because a lot of the time that's where they feel judged, or they feel very uncomfortable about doing that.
Yeah,
That's
so-
lovely.
Yeah.
To be able to bring your kids, because I've seen that. I was working in advertising as well. I also moved to Canada. I also did advertising, marketing, similar to you, because my father said, "Ki ye acting and all of this is absolutely, you're not going to go there. You have to do something, a regular sort of office job." And then I remember our finance director, she had to bring her baby in, but the kind of looks that she was getting in whispers and all of that. So kudos to you for just building a safe environment for these ladies to feel comfortable, because not every environment, they necessarily feel like they can do that and call it home in a way.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know what? Like, it wasn't always like I would be there with my baby. And there's been a few times that we've, like a few of the customers have pointed out. And I remember this one email we got back when we just had the James Street, and I was there, obviously, because I had to be there every day. I couldn't just not be there. And then I didn't have a nanny because she was. She started nursery when she turned 1. So before that, I didn't have a nanny for her, and she was with me. I don't have any family here. So she would be there at work with me. And I remember like this one customer, she just wrote us an email and just writing how unprofessional it was that I was standing there with my baby and it doesn't reflect well on the brand.
As a woman,
As a woman,
said
as a
that.
woman,
That's
surprisingly.
where it is, where you see women as someone that to put someone down is
Yeah.
not exactly the right thing to do. And
So-
you're doing a great job, getting single moms and then helping them out by letting their kids also come. Not saying they're playing around,
Yeah,
messing
yeah.
around,
Yeah.
but it's a great encouragement for them that they can work. I want to ask you about. Sorry, what was it?
Okay.
Yes, yeah. I want to ask you about another great feather in your cap, which is cordon bleu, which is not an easy thing to do. But any disastrous moment in your time there?
Disastrous moments. I mean, there were a lot of cuts, lots of knife cuts. Nothing major though. Disastrous. I'm just trying to.
And at
think.
what point did you do that? Because you did Gordon Ramsay way before.
No, this was one. So Gordon Ramsay had the Le Cordon Bleu.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was at Gordon Ramsay Academy, and then you get the Le Cordon Bleu certification.
Okay.
So that was great.
So separately
because
you didn't do it.
It was just one
Okay.
one course that I did. I don't think there were any disasters. I don't know what that says about me as a chef, but
That you're perfect?
There was nothing. No, there was nothing serious.
Was he around? Was Gordon Ramsay
I
around?
did meet him a
Yeah?
couple of times. Yeah,
What's he like?
completely different from his TV personality. Completely different.
Can I quote you on something? And you can, tell me if it's so you were quoted to say, I worked in kitchens where I was surrounded by 20 men. I used to go home and cry because it was so intense. And this says a little bit about, we hear about a lot of sexism in kitchens. Did you face that?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about sort of, before this, while I was in university, and obviously, like I said, I was so passionate about this, I was doing my own cakes. Additional challenge to myself, I was like, I don't know what it's like working in a restaurant. Let's go work in one of the restaurants. I don't know if you've lived in Canada, so maybe you're familiar with the Joey's restaurant chain. Joey's
I was in
really
Montreal.
It was really busy. It was a big restaurant chain. It was just
Where
close
was it, in
to
Toronto?
Downtown Toronto. They had a few
yeah,
locations.
sure.
I was like, okay, why not? They were hiring. I applied. I got the job. I went. And I remember working in these kitchens, which it was a very busy. It was like maybe 200 cover restaurant, huge restaurant in Eaton Centre, and it was quite busy.
I know Eaton Centre.
Yeah, so it was right there. I started working there, and I remember my shifts would be, it was like long working hours. I would finish at 2 a.m. I was still studying. I was a student as well. And I just remember the environment of the kitchen. It was all men, mostly all white men, no diversity. And the environment was such that obviously it was a busy, fast-paced kitchen, but there was so much like aggression and swearing, and I was like, I'm petite, right? So I would be like just in a corner, and I would just be hearing all this, and I was like, this is, it like actually discouraged me from going into like kitchens or going into the culinary field, because it opened my eyes to what it's actually like. And then for a girl, I didn't feel safe there, and I felt like this is not what it should be like, and I need to change that. And at Feya, that's not what our kitchens look like. I wanted to completely transform that.
Yeah.
And it is a male-dominated industry. It still is, even though there's a lot more women, there's a lot more female chefs, but you will see there's not many female-owned restaurants that have Michelin stars. There's only one.
I mean, they literally say, it sounds weird, but people say that kitchens are almost like the football field or a rugby field in the type of pressure, almost violent to a level of violence, because I think the pressure of bringing the perfect food to customers who are so easy to give you a negative review, to be these, even we how much do we eat out, and constantly thoda sa yahan ho gaya, we're like, okay,
Unforgiving.
kind of time. We are unforgiving customers. We also need to learn. So the pressure inside, and TV shows like Chef, many other movies and TV shows show you that pressure behind the scenes is so real, it's so raw, that, as you said, it could be very, very discouraging, and it's almost like being on the football field. It's that intense. It can be that, just the pressure is so hard.
Having filmed 5 seasons in restaurants, and that's like a lot of episodes, and being in all sorts of kitchens, you see it's not an easy job. And if you are not passionate about cooking and being in this culinary field, why would you be?
And you have to be tough,
because there is no life. You ask people when they go home, and there's no timing. There's when have they eaten, what have they eaten. It's a very tough job to have. So having women around, do you think there's a difference?
The way the restaurants I had worked in, and then realizing this is not what I wanted to look like, we've sort of done that, and that's been a bit about the menu. And if you look at our dishes, they're very detailed. It takes time to plate each dish, but then we try, how can we make life? And this is my constant. So we are innovating, and we're constantly revising our menu every 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
We bring in new dishes, take something away. You have to keep up with sort of the trends, the seasonal ingredients as well. So it's a bit of everything. But the first thing I do, we launch a new menu. I'll train the chefs. I'll tell them, okay, this is how we're making. Then I just ask them, when it gets busy, how are we going to cope? How
Okay.
can we make things more efficient without compromising on the detail or on the presentation, and the quality of the food?
Yeah.
It's everything. How can I make it? And especially with the drinks nowadays, because drinks are so on trend in the matcha, and we're doing these teddy bear, like
So
iced
beautiful.
teddy bears and
Yeah.
stuff. And there's many aspects to even a simple drink. There's different layers, and it takes them time. Everybody wants to order a drink, right? Food they might share, but drink, it's like everyone's gonna order one when they come in, and the baristas get overwhelmed. And I just keep it's constant, like, okay, what can we do? What can we do to make life easier? And this is how I think. I don't think that no, they have to do this because this is the way it's meant to be. But and if something is extremely difficult, where it's they're struggling with it, then we'll say, okay, we'll take it off the menu, we'll replace it with something else.
So it has to be served in a certain time.
Yeah, so because
Okay.
you don't want customers waiting for a long. I mean, people don't like waiting. Honestly,
like
they
waiting.
don't like.
You don't have no
waiting at
patience.
all.
The minute they order something, they want it there and then, forgetting
Literally,
about
yeah.
it has to be cooked or like put together
Yeah,
or certain
yeah.
things. Behind all of this success, because you're growing, and are you growing further? Are you opening another branch anytime soon, or is it?
So I think in the UK, I'm happy with what we have.
Yeah.
Internationally, I would love to expand the brand, but it's hard to keep your identity, and then because it's something that's so personal to me as well. We've had a lot of interest from all over the world for the franchises and
I was gonna
applications
say,
and
yeah.
everything. It's just finding the right sort of the right sort of party as well, and somebody who's going to understand the values, have the same passion.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find that. Everybody wants to own a business,
Yeah.
but when it comes to actually running the business, actually understanding the whole concept behind
Yeah.
it, and just being involved in with the everyday, nobody wants to do the hard work.
You opened in 2019.
2018.
2018. So, how did you survive the pandemic then?
So
How did you do
pandemic
that?
was obviously something that nobody had expected. We were
Yeah.
a very new brand.
Yeah.
Our Knightsbridge location had just opened,
Just opened,
in
yeah.
December,
Yes.
and we were just completely closed. So during the pandemic, you know what happens when you were faced with hardships or anything that life throws at you. You just pivot. You just think of, okay, restaurants are closed. We don't know when they're gonna open. What can we do as
Yeah.
a brand? So we actually launched our retail line, which is something that we always wanted to do. Launch our products, have something available online that people can order, and you have a bit of fair experience at home. So this was a time when we thought, okay, we never had time to do this. Maybe this is the time now. So we got these female illustrators on board, and we explained the concept to them that, it's going to be a retail line, but it's going to have a mission behind it. So women empowerment has been a theme, but, how can we take that further? And the whole idea was to have these products. So our chocolates, each product has an empowering message.
Yeah.
So chocolates, it's Reach for the Stars. Teas are all about self-care. Hot chocolates are all about equality and diversity with the truffle. So it was something. Each product had a theme, and then we designed the packaging and we did the message behind it. And we also started our charity initiatives, Feya Cares, which we partner with other charities.
This also started in 2020?
This was 2020, 2021.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we launched this, and then alongside we launched Feya Cares. So then the proceeds from the sale of the retail line go towards Feya Cares.
And what is Feya Cares?
Feya Cares is just a charity initiative which we're working alongside other charities.
Okay.
And what we do is basically just we work with them and see how and where we can support. So obviously charitable work has been part of it's like been a backbone of Feya. We've been on Olio as well, which redistributes your food surplus.
Okay.
We worked with Too Good To Go, which you don't have to waste your products that are fine to eat, but you don't have to waste them. So they kind of, you just put the prices down and people can come in and collect. So we've had that conscious behind the brand as well. And so, with that, I thought, okay, this is something that we can do when we have our own initiative. Then we can partner with multiple charities at the same time and drive their mission forward. So we worked with Refuge, which was a women's shelter. We worked with Young Women's Trust, which is all about empowering young women and fostering them and giving them sort of the confidence to go on, and have their own businesses. So, it's really helped having that sort of platform in place. that we can reach further and just help uplift more women.
No, you've got a lot of platforms going on. You've got too much going on, right?
It's not. I think.
And I was just thinking we're wearing your theme color without actually thinking it's your theme color. It's subconscious. We're wearing the Feya theme. Behind all of this success, who is Zahra Khan?
Who is Zahra Khan? So I think since you've known me, I'm a mother, a very devoted mother, and I think I've let motherhood define me in every aspect of my life. And I feel like being a mother has made me a better entrepreneur. It has taught me a lot of resilience, patience, perseverance, and I really enjoy it. So like if you ask me who I am, firstly, I'm a mother, and then it's everything else.
Okay, I know I'm going to ask you a question which I ask a lot of successful female business women, and sometimes the women think why are you asking us this question, why don't you ask the men? But I do feel that a lot of the time men don't have to juggle family and business the same way that women do. It's just a fact of life. It doesn't happen. So how do you juggle this, Zahra? You have 3 kids, you mentioned. You started the business right after you had your first baby, is that correct?
Yeah.
You went on to have 2 more. You went on to have multiple more, spots, locations, and you own all of them. None of them are franchise, right? These are all
Yeah.
yours. How do you juggle it? If you had to give advice to mom, and yes, I don't ask this of men all the time, but I feel like the pressure of taking care of the kids and being there in that same way is sometimes, they're let off easier. So that's why I am asking you, what are some of the tips? How do you do it? What is your support system, please?
So I think that's the first and foremost is having a good support system,
Yeah.
which I have built over time. It helps that, the older 2 girls are in school now and, they have a bit of a routine now. But it's always been like, I need to be present for them, for my kids,
How do you do
without
it?
sacrificing. So I've had to, distance myself at times from work, because when you're running your own business, it is not 9 to 5. It is round the clock.
Yeah.
And with a restaurant, it's things that you see on a normal day, but then there's so much in the background. Sometimes there's a leak, or there's something, the electricity is gone, there's a fire, there's something, there's so many things that can just happen, and where I'll be needed, or there's going to be an emergency or something. So things you can't predict. So for that, you have to be prepared. So obviously having a good team in place, if I'm not there, my team can sort of manage that.
Yeah.
And that has come over time. A good support system for my kids, not having family here, I have a really good nanny who, is literally my backbone, because I can't survive without her. And all of that obviously takes time to build, but that's what I've learned. And there's no balance on most days. I'm not going to say I'm balancing or I'm juggling. Most days, yes, I do struggle a lot of the times, between the kids and between work. But now I've started also setting sort of boundaries. If
Yes.
my kids need me, then they're my priority. And when I do my calendar, for the week, for the month, and I always do the kids' activities and everything in there first, and then everything is around that. Because they come first, and then everything else is secondary. And I've learned to sort of prioritize as well, which obviously comes over time. When it's a new business, it's much more difficult. But over time, when I've had the right people to rely on, I can do that a bit more, where I can sort of say no to certain things and make time, where I'm needed. And then also the micromanaging, that has to stop at some point, and you have to step back a little bit and let go a little bit, and let other people delegate the tasks, and you have to let them do it.
Have there been times when you've just broken down and said, what the hell am I doing? This is ridiculous. I can't. And it's just been feeling so overwhelmed, or you have felt so overwhelmed. Have there been those times?
Many times. I've lost count, but it's normal. We're
Yes,
human,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I really struggled with was motherhood and entrepreneurship. And then what people, nobody prepares you for what you go through after you give birth, the baby blues, and all of that. And, then the expectation to, go back to work. I had no maternity with my kids, literally the second day with my second one after I was there. Even the day I delivered, I was basically there. And then, so it was like, I never got time off. I had to do things at the same time. And it did take a toll on my mental health. It really did. But it's only recently that I've started putting myself first, because I've realized how important it is for me to focus. And just in order to be there for my kids, I need to work on myself first and my mental health.
But also be there for yourself, Zara, because the longest time that I've known you, socially you were completely unavailable because you were really on it and you were very focused and you had a vision since day one that what you wanted to do. And I remember the phase, I can't remember exactly when you had mentioned you want to open 2, not even 1 branch at the same time. That's a big deal. That's not even a small step while being mom of 3, and then you're living your life, but you knew what was priority and you put that priority first. But now the Zara that I know, if you chat to Zara and you're all these nice holidays that you go to, but still it's
Nice holidays.
You
love holidays.
But
Not
it's
as many as you do.
lastminute.com.
That
Because you ask Zara where she's going and when she's going, she decides where she's going and when she's going a day before the flight.
yeah, sometimes the same day.
And it's the same day. How do you manage to do that?
So the thing is, with my nature of business and being a mom of 3, I can't plan things in advance. Anytime I've booked a holiday in
Isn't
advance,
that the complete opposite that one does?
I
with
can't,
a mom of
but you
3,
can't-
You have
with
to
your
plan.
business, you have to plan
it's
in
the
advance.
business, right? That's a bit like we just don't know what to expect, and it can get busy, or something will
Yeah.
come up, and it's the nature of the business. I think more than being a mother, I would love to plan, but I just can't. So I do try and take holidays with the kids, without the kids, because I feel like both are important.
Yeah.
And so travel is sort of an escape because I feel like I can't relax when I'm here. I can't
you can't switch off.
I can't switch
Do
off.
you get
right?
inspired also when you go to these
I do.
places that you do?
Travel
right?
inspires me,
Yeah,
yes.
you probably
The
do.
different cultures, the food. I'm a big foodie, so I love to try all the different cuisines and, just ideas. And I think that is where the inspiration comes from.
So your Feya menu is it like continental, cosmopolitan? Like what is it? If we were to try
I think it's
I haven't
fusion,
tried.
cosmopolitan menu. We do like a big brunch, which is like, but we've got the Arabic influences in there as well. So
Okay.
when you look at the menu, I feel like there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
We do pizzas, pastas as well.
I didn't even know you did fried chicken. And she brought me
Yeah.
fried. She had seen my reel, brought me the most delicious fried chicken with 3 delicious sauces. I think there was a truffle, there was garlic, a sriracha, sort of sauce. So yum. You brought chocolates. You brought fresh salads, watermelon, seasonal.
Yeah.
Salad.
the
You
new
know, like you
salads.
brought. So and even because I haven't tried your whole menu, I wasn't sure, but we just saw a little bit of everything.
No, I've had everything.
And
I've had
beautifully
the marmalade,
packaged.
yes.
Beautifully packaged. And at the back of every box of chocolates, you showed me your sort of,
The
like
message,
there
yeah.
was this lovely quote or something so thoughtful. I mean, really amazing.
But also, Zara, one thing is on my mind. You're a Pakistani, right? You've opened something that is completely non-Pakistani. I mean, if I walk into Feya, I will never ever guess this is owned by a Pakistani young girl. Was that a conscious decision? Do you ever get that pressure from people saying that, you could have opened like a chai dhaba or something and like you could have Pakistani desserts or, culture into your space? Do you ever feel that pressure? Did that ever come to your mind? Because you do get a lot of Pakistani actors and actresses that
Yeah.
come. And then you do, bring them to your restaurant and use them on your social media in some sort. But I mean, you've got a huge list of big influencers that also come. But being a Pakistani, do you feel that pressure?
I think not so much, just because we sort of have our own identity now, and the whole idea. So I don't think I can even cook Pakistani food, to be fair. I didn't grow up cooking or I grew up baking, and it was completely different. And even the culinary school, because I did like the French cooking and I learned the French techniques and all of that. So I never really, sort of had this inclination to have, a Pakistani inspired menu. Yes, we've got influences in the menu, which you can say, like we do the karak tea and then we do the desserts like the saffron milk cake and so you can say that the inspiration is there. We also started doing halwa puri.
Oh, yeah?
So we started doing it, but it was such a struggle with the chefs. They couldn't do the halwa right. They couldn't do, and they weren't Pakistani.
and then you don't want to offend those
Exactly,
halwa puri
yes.
fans
The people
who I
are
am
coming in
motherland.
specifically, right? And I'm
Exactly.
having to come in and make
Fair
halwa
enough.
every day.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? Let's not,
Okay, so it's not on the
Yeah.
menu anymore.
not on the menu.
Sorry, I'm just going to say that I am some person who doesn't actually like Pakistani desserts. So like my husband loves halwa, he loves kheer, and they love, all the gulab jamuns, vagera, vagera.
I
I do
love.
like this one mithai, but otherwise I'm a very Gora dessert person. So Feya Cafe is a
Yeah.
place where I would go for my desserts. I love Pakistani.
See, I
but
love
just not-
Pakistani desserts.
Right.
I love the gajar ka halwa. I love the gulab jamun. I mean, my eyes are closing because I'm trying to visualize them all in
Very
front of me.
cooling.
And in the English desserts, the only thing I really like is a basic chocolate.
chocolate cake.
No,
Then?
basic chocolate.
Oh,
Like a
basic
dairy milk.
chocolate.
That's it. But the Pakistani desserts, they have my heart. I'm a very Pakistani. But that's great. Okay, that's you've kept it very clear, and there's no pressure. That's absolutely fine. Anything else? Any?
Do you have a favorite dish? Or
It
is that too
keeps
difficult?
changing. Nowadays, it's the watermelon feta salad.
Okay.
And I literally,
Fresh
that is
for the
what I
weather.
have. And I fill myself with it, so I don't eat.
What's your favorite dessert?
I'm not a big dessert person.
The cake maker? doesn't have a
Interestingly,
favorite?
I think that's what
No,
it is.
hold on. When we came to the restaurant, you insisted not to have this one cake, but have the other one.
Oh. What
Was
is
it the...
I said let's have the saffron because that's the known, but you said no, the other one's better. There was another one.
Either
which one?
tiramisu or was it the cheesecake? A brass
Probably.
cheesecake?
Probably.
That's trending now. Because I
Okay.
feel like milk cakes had like a short-lived period and now
Okay.
people have kind of moved on from the milk
I think
cakes.
cheesecake.
Maybe
That's
the
one you
Bass
mentioned.
cheesecake, the burnt
Yes,
cheesecake.
yes.
That's what's on trend.
What are the most popular things on the menu?
So in terms of desserts, it's definitely the Bass cheesecake. Saffron milk cake is still up there. Tiramisu is doing really well because obviously we do a halal tiramisu.
Okay.
Because
so,
you wouldn't have the liquor in it.
yeah, so there's
So what
no
do you put
liquor.
instead of that?
So we just do it without. We just make it
Right.
extra strong, the coffee.
Okay.
So yeah, so those things do well. And then in terms of, I think our brunch right now, the best seller is the acai bowl.
Okay.
So because it's hot as well, I think
Yeah.
we're selling like every table is
Okay.
like. So acai bowl is really on fire. Matchas right now are a huge trend.
Matcha, have a moment.
And we've got like a whole matcha menu for the iced drinks, so that's really on trend at the moment. And then from our dining as well, I think there's all sorts of things. We've got a salmon, we've got chicken, we've got braised beef, we've got a lamb. So there's a bit of everything, and I think it's kind of well rounded. When people come in, there's like a good mix.
How proud are your parents of you? Because they wanted you to be a doctor. They didn't think that this food scene was somewhere that you would be able to build a career on, and how fantastically you've proven them wrong, uncle and auntie. But I mean, how proud are they of you?
They really are. But the thing is, they really supported me.
Sure.
When I told them, I want to go to culinary school, their support was there 100%. And even after that, when I said, I want to open up this, they don't come visit me themselves. They're between Pakistan and Canada. But they send so many people my way.
They never come to London?
They barely ever come to London. So, but their support is there.
Can't they come via London? But
They
anyways,
just-
sure, no.
yeah.
Okay, fine.
So yeah, which is, it's good to know.
Yeah.
We started with the parents and we've ended with the parents, which
Yeah.
what they didn't want you to do, and they're happy and they're supportive of what you do,
Yeah.
and that's all that really matters in the
Yeah.
end.
I mean, I'm very inspired by you.
Yeah.
I didn't know your story it was in such depth, obviously, and that's why we have you today. And to but I mean, you hats off to you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, truly
Seriously.
inspiration. Very, very calm about it. Also, you're not all over the place, and you're super calm. And I like the way you handle things, and I like the way you have this vision about everything. It's something that every young girl should look up to. So I'm really, really happy that you came and spoke to us.
And just
on
one thing,
our
you know,
episode.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just one thing before I forget. You were talking about how you need, to make out time for yourself, whether it's trips or whatever. And you said recently you've been incorporating certain things to sort of keep yourself grounded, mindful, just not lose it, you know, because it's high pressure what you're doing with the kids and all of that. So what are some of those things? Because I'm very into wellness, and sometimes
Yeah,
it's like,
no,
kab wellness se niklenge, but nahi, wellness se kabhi bhi nahi niklenge. It's a recurring theme in I want to know what everybody is doing. There's, whether it's therapy, whether it's some kind of, whatever it is. What do you do?
A bit of everything.
Yeah.
Therapy.
What are those
I
things?
really think therapy is great, and it's been a cornerstone for me
Okay.
growing up as well. So I feel like therapy is number one. When
Okay.
things get overwhelming and you feel like you're not in control of things anymore,
Yeah.
it really helps.
We're talking about like talking therapies. with
Talking therapy, yeah,
Fine.
yeah,
Mm,
CBD, whatever
Fine.
you can relate to, but talking therapy is great.
Sure.
And then one of the other things I recently started is I started working out, which is something I never had the time to do.
Yeah.
And then now I'm realizing I start my day, I drop the kids off to school, and then I'll just get my workout done. And I just feel in the morning when you get that done, you just feel so productive already. The focus is there, and that's really helped. Even to calm me down a little
Stress
bit.
relief.
Yeah.
With the anxiety and all of that, I feel like that's really helped. And then
Yeah.
I just feel stronger.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm strength training, I'm working out,
Yeah.
you feel good about yourself, you feel stronger.
She's taking care of her bone density, see?
Mm.
And anything else?
Mindfulness,
Yeah.
journaling,
Journaling.
yeah, reading, just some of the things that
Nice.
help. It's
Okay.
just being aware of what you need, and also being very conscious of when a situation gets overwhelming, or if you're in a meeting or just something. Sometimes work gets really overwhelming and there's way too much going on and staff issues and this, and I need to step away, so I'll just go out for a walk. It's learning to sort of take yourself out of that
To
situation.
recognize that.
That
Yeah.
focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
So I can control, I can walk away. So things like that I've learned over time.
And that's just seems to me very seemingly, that's what I said, you just seem to be in control of everything, which is all the therapy, I guess, that
Yeah,
also
it's
helps.
a work in progress.
all
Yeah,
it
it's
is, all
always
it
a
has.
work.
Every phase, brings new challenges. As you
Absolutely.
said, you never know. I mean, I'm someone who's literally just learned, like if the weather is bad, there's a weather prediction, I'm having a party, I'll be like, Faris, barish ho rahi hai us din, oh my god, and I'm getting stressed, and he's like, you can't control it, babe, because he's like the most zen
Yeah,
person on the
yeah.
Faris, he's just born zen and is zen, and I think he's been put on this earth for me to be more zen and have these conversations. But like things that you can't control, let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Why bother your own brain and yourself and get anxious about stuff? And honestly, I'm like a buddhi now, but I've only just recently learned to not get my feathers ruffled over stuff which I can't control. Sometimes we forget that, so it's a good
Yeah.
reminder.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just speaking to someone like Zahra, you would realize that, like, see, managing everything, kids, business, so on, whatever. And then you
So I'm very inspired.
I mean, you can't control things, you can't control everything.
Whatever you
Whatever
can.
is going to happen is
You
going
have
to
to control
happen, right?
yourself.
So you just have to let go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I've learned that. It's
Great.
not worth stressing over everything. It's like you pick and choose.
You have to
right?
pick your battles in life and just control yourself. Zahra, thank you so much. This is fantastic talking to you about your journey, about your background, and you just giving us your time as well and your insights about your life, your work, and your passion. Thank
Hats
you so
off to
much.
you.
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you for having
Wow.
me. I had such a fun
Thanks.
time.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hajra, thank you for inviting Zahra. I didn't know her story so much before. Obviously, I researched her for this episode. And oh my God, I mean, she's so inspirational.
Yeah. People like her give women like us so much inspiration, great energy, and then they inspire you in thinking that, whatever you think you actually cannot do, you can. And as she just said, and as we all know, it's just that beyond that fear. And when we pass that fear of doing things, we are going to find the best version of ourselves. So I'm so happy to chat with her, and I know her really well, but the insights she gave about, I had no idea that her parents didn't want her to get into this, but once she was, they're so happy.
They were coming from the space of all parents want their children to succeed. They don't want them to fail. And I think in their mind, because I think her mom is a doctor, she just thought that this was the field for her. But she proved them right, she proved them wrong. I mean, look at that. I think one of the things that really stood out to me, what she said, was that we are our own roadblocks. We block ourselves.
Yes.
It's nobody else.
Nobody else.
Nobody else can actually even has that power, nor should you give them that power. But that's an excuse that we keep making to ourselves, for ourselves. It's always us. It's our mindset, it's our fears, it's our insecurities, all of that. And I mean, sure, some of those things are real, but it's always us who kind of stands in the way of ourselves doing. I also, even Faris said, have more of a growth mindset. Think larger. And don't be so scared. And this is one girl, and she's fearless, hardworking, determined. She's amazing. And she's a mother of 3. I'm like, I have one child. How do I do it all? Blah blah blah. This is a lady who's actually, she's kind of beating that sort of whole system where you think that you can't do it all at the same time.
She's young as well, and
Yeah,
having
it's
done
amazing.
that at a very early age, and
Yeah.
all of it with such
With COVID, with
Very,
kids,
very-
with her parents not even in the same city.
absolutely the support
She's a
system,
superstar.
right? So superstar. So
Wow.
hats off to her and
Yeah.
all these other women that one day I'm sure we'll reach out and we'll have them on our show as guests.
Yeah,
and, all these inspirational stories of so many women out there doing such incredible work for themselves and their families, making them proud.
If you want to
Hats off
check out,
you guys.
if you want to check out Feya Cafe, you can find them in central London.
James Street, Marble Arch, Knightsbridge. I go to all of them.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. I mean, they are the most enchanted brunch spots in London. Thank you.